Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Hey, let's go. Thursday show, August 22nd, 2024. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to Woodward Sports. Coming up on 67,000 subscribers on this platform. Wow. Really incredible. We have you to thank for that. Braylon Edwards out today. He'll be back tomorrow. Anson Wells in his stead. Tom Mazaway out today, recovering from a little eye surgery. He is recovering well, a little bit of pain, but he too should be back tomorrow. That's good. Anson Wells, let's welcome in the great KG and Pete Spivak as well. Gentlemen, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
What's up, boys?
And Anson Wells, good afternoon to you, my friend.
It's fantastic to see you. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. We got a real big event.
Absolutely. Going to be broadcasted live from the Ally Challenge. There's an event happening out there, golf event happening out there, and it's great to be up close and personal. You know, just last week, you see some of these golfers, like John Daly was on with the heavyweights.
Yeah.
I mean, is there an athlete in America right now that would fit in more nicely at this network than John Daly with the heavyweights?
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a perfect pairing.
That's a perfect.
It really is.
There's no doubt. So I think Jim Furyk's going to be at the event tomorrow. He's playing in that. So
Nice.
A lot to get to there. We're going to talk to Dr. Pierce today as well. There is a lot to talk to when it comes to Dr. Pierce because the Lions have some injuries, and thankfully they seem like minor injuries, nagging injuries, Anson, and they got great news today as well. Yesterday, I'm sure you discussed Penei Sewell left practice,
Scary.
rolled up with an ankle injury, and here is the update from Eric Woodward on X. Good news in Detroit. Lions All-Pro offensive tackle Penei Sewell suffered a rolled ankle. There are no issues. No issues at all with Penei Sewell. And Justin Rogers put out the same thing as well, that he is good. And Anson, one of the things that this football team has been benefited by through this camp is that some of these injuries, whether it's Jahmyr Gibbs, whether it's Penei Sewell, whether it's Sam Laporta, whether it's Ennis Rakestraw or Terrion Arnold, these have not been serious injuries. They have escaped serious injury thus far.
Yeah. And this is why you have training camp. This is why you have the preseason. Teams that are sitting these guys out, you're going to realize these types of injuries in actual game situations. But these are guys that want to tear your head off. Not guys that just want to stop the play, but these are guys that want to hurt you and put you out of the game. So to be able to get some of this contact in, some of these surface injuries out of the way, I think our boys are going to be ready to hit the ground running come week one.
Yeah, no doubt. And KG, I'll tell you, I don't think there's a player on this team. Well, you know,
Him and golf.
Yeah, well, right.
Him and golf.
That's what we discussed it yesterday. Braylon's guy was Amon-Ra. I thought Penei was the guy that we couldn't lose, but to your point, where you're going.
Obviously, golf is number one.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like, we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But I do think there is some disagreement as who's the second guy that this team cannot lose. And I would make the argument, I think the strongest argument can be made that it is Penei Sewell.
Yeah.
Because everything is run through that offensive line. Everything they want to do, everything that they are as a team offensively runs through that offensive line. And he is the best offensive lineman not only on that team, but among the best offensive linemen in the league.
Period.
He
Yeah.
is just one player you cannot afford to go out. At that point, I do think Amon-Ra is up there because of what he can do
Chain mover.
every situation on third down, at the goal line, everywhere. But I think Penei Sewell is right there among the Lions that you cannot have go down.
Having seen Hooker this preseason, I think that the Lions would be hurt the most by losing Penei Sewell.
Thank you.
This is a guy that, our entire running game is predicated on his success. But then also, now you've got Jared Goff that I agree, he's right up there. But if you start to see Jared Goff having to be mobile because Penei's not out there, how effective is Jared Goff? How effective is he getting the ball to Amon-Ra? If he's got one less second, all of a sudden I see our passing attack as well as our running attack really kind of falling apart. And I know that we're still great. I know that we still have all kinds of weapons. But so much from time of possession to the running game to keeping Jared Goff upright, it all falls on Penei. And I know that we've got a deeper offensive line, but to me, Penei would be the biggest loss. When I first heard it was a foot injury, I was very, very concerned. Hearing this news today, Ryan, whew.
Yeah, no. And, it's funny. Did you guys see the Sports Illustrated cover?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to frame it.
Yeah.
All right, so the Lions are on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and Sports Illustrated is predicting your Detroit Lions to win Super Bowl 59. Ooh. And who's driving the car in that picture?
Penei Sewell.
It's Penei Sewell.
Penei Sewell.
Yeah.
Penei Sewell is driving the car, and I think that's obviously again I feel like Goff is in his own category. If Goff goes down, I don't care if it's Hendon Hooker or Nate Sudfeld or whatever. The season is pretty much over. Okay, yeah. I mean it just is in terms of Super Bowl championships. Okay, so we could save that conversation for another day. But as far as the engine that really drives this car, I think Sports Illustrated got this correctly. It is Penei Sewell who drives this car.
Big three right there.
Yes,
It
sir.
absolutely is. And, Amon-Ra, those are your three best players on the team. And I don't even think it's close after that. I mean, these guys are so good at what they do and so crucial to what they do and what they give this football team. Any one of those three players goes down, and your Super Bowl aspirations, I think, take a major, major hit. Now, if Goff goes down, it's all bets are off.
I mean, true, but even with, I worry about the offensive tackle production because we are deep on the offensive line. But if Penei goes down, who is stepping up at the offensive tackle position? You can't even give me a name. Like, it's hard to make up that kind of production. One sack in 17 games, that is hard to make up, man. So I think Penei is probably the most important piece. I understand Jared Goff, he's your quarterback. If he goes down, yes, your season is presumably over, but at least you have seen enough from Hendon Hooker to think that he can at least keep the ship afloat, if he has to take the reins for an extended period of time.
Colby Sorsdale or Sorsdal would be the backup in that case. Dan Skipper would also be an option. And again, Dan Skipper, God love him.
Yeah.
He's no Penei Sewell. Colby Sorsdal, God love him. He is no Penei Sewell.
Yes.
So, and again, I do think with every championship team, you do have to have a little bit of luck along the way, Anson, or a lot of bit of luck along the way. And again, so far through camp, what we've seen, the Lions escaping these major injuries, I do think that is lucky. And I would rather be lucky than good. And, I was at a high school football practice last night, and it's funny because the tackling wasn't very great last night. And I was talking to a couple of guys in the stands. They're like, well, there's not a lot of tackling that gets practiced.
Oh, wow.
And it's the truth. Like, so, like, the only way to practice tackling is to tackle. And the only way to practice football is to play football.
Yeah.
And that's a long way to get to. These guys have to practice, right? I mean, you can't put them in bubble wrap until the Rams game on September 8th or anything like that. They have to practice. And when guys are getting rolled up on offensive linemen's ankles, you can I heard somebody say, well, what are these guys practicing like that for? You know what I mean? Why are guys going to the ground in practice like that? Well, because it's football.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If a guy gets hurt in football, a guy gets hurt in football. You have to practice. So I just think that the coaching staff for the Detroit Lions has done everything right throughout the way they handle their practices. You have to play the game, and if it's Rakestraw or Arnold, if it's Penei Sewell or Laporta or Gibbs. These guys have to be out there practicing football, and that's what they're doing. And if a guy gets nicked up, they get nicked up.
Yeah, and all of us that are on the show, maybe aside from Braylon, but all you guys watching at home, we've never been paid athletes, but we get back into the gym, we get out on the court and start playing hoops for the first time in some years. How do you feel that first week? Yeah.
Rough.
How do you feel that first week? And to your point of luck, last year, a lot of people have talked about that we got lucky and we escaped injuries last year. Well, that's not true. Mm-hmm. What was our big weakness last year, KG?
Defensive tackle position.
And the secondary.
And the secondary,
secondary, and you got CD Deuce
You could have
gone.
said any position on defense, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But CD Deuce goes down week 2. Emmanuel Mosley, why they brought him back this year, I don't know, because he never even really took the field for us last year. But those 2 guys going down, and our Achilles heel all season long is being able to stop number 1 wide receivers.
Yep.
So we're looking at the same kind of deal right now. We're lucky so far. We've got somebody running that medical room and that weight room where they've got to find fix on these guys where they're able to get them ready without getting them hurt. Now, we saw the 2 smaller injuries that people didn't focus on a whole lot last year that really weighed this team down. Yeah. The organizational depth is at a whole different level for the Lions in 2024. But, again, we need a little bit of that luck. And so far, to your point, Ryan, we have had a whole lot of luck with all of these surface injuries. And that's hugely important because these guys have gotten contact. They've gotten through the process. And again, I'm going to double down. These guys are going to be ready to hit the ground running when they host Stafford.
And I agree with you about that. Just to get back to this Sports Illustrated cover for a second. And Sports Illustrated isn't today what it was when I was growing up.
Big fan.
Or even, when I was in high school or college. I mean, to be the cover of Sports Illustrated was to be celebrated. Yep. It was to be big news. It was to be discussed. It was you were going to run to the newsstands.
It was going up on our walls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I have, and I've since gotten rid of them, but I had bins and bins and bins of Sports Illustrated.
You kept a couple, though.
You know what?
Not one?
Can't find it. I lost a lot in a flood in 21.
Yeah.
I lost a lot in a flood, but
I still got my Mickey Prince Fielder Sports Illustrated cover.
Is there one that sticks out? One cover?
I think the Bad Boys, Bill Lambier and Rick Moore.
Good call.
You know what I mean?
Good
call.
Eat the Rim or whatever it was.
87 Isaiah with the finger roll to finish off the Hawks in the the conference semifinals. Yeah. That was mine.
I mean, there's so many good ones. I mean, we could talk about for hours about this, but again, I don't know if the Lions being on the cover of Sports Illustrated resonates today like it would have some years ago with the kids, or just the anticipation of getting that magazine cover, and again, maybe going to the gas station or the corner store and picking something up for a couple of bucks. Yeah. But the fact that the Detroit Lions are picked to win the Super Bowl in Sports Illustrated is kind of a big deal.
You held that point back.
You know what I mean?
Okay, you told us about the cover.
Right.
I hadn't gotten into the issue yet. They picked the lie downs, huh?
Yeah, they
lying
picked the
down no more
to win the Super Bowl. I think is like such an enormous change.
Yeah,
it's an enormous change over just a couple of year period for this team, and where Dan Campbell has brought this team. I think that's something to be proud of, scared of, embrace, pushed away. It's interesting how many different emotions that kind of that announcement feels like. This is the most, and again, we said it last year, and this year I think we can say it again. This is the most anticipated Lions season.
Detroit sports season, period.
In the Super Bowl era.
Yeah, Detroit sports season. I can only compare 89 Pistons and mid-90s Red Wings. After they had lost to what, the Rangers or maybe the
Devils.
Avalanche. Yeah. Or not the Rangers, New Jersey. But those teams, like, we knew they were about to go there, and the Red Wings hadn't won in a long time. Everybody was excited about the Bad Boys. But the drought for Lions fans, multi-generational drought, is so, it's so tangible that it's been a dark cloud over all of our lives. And seeing the way that not only Detroit Lion Nation, but the rest of the nation got behind this team, it truly, to me, I just can't even, as much as of a Pistons fan that I am, there's nothing that compares to the anticipation of this Detroit sports team, this year's Detroit Lions.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just getting so much love. I don't know if anybody saw on ESPN.com today, too. On ESPN.com, they ranked the top coaching staffs in the NFL heading into 2024. Guess who's number one?
A knee eater?
Huh?
A knee biter?
No.
Okay.
Not number one.
It's got to be Andy Reid,
Andy
right?
Reid is number one.
Yeah.
Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs are the number one coaching staff heading into 2024.
Makes sense.
Do you know who number two is?
With the knee biters.
Dan Campbell
Hey.
and the Detroit Lions. Let me just read for you what they say here.
Wow.
They've got head coach Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, and Aaron Glenn. There's not a single thing Campbell doesn't do right. He's been consistently correct on 4th down and 2-point decisions. Perhaps more importantly, his team is behind him when he makes the judgment calls on 50-50 games, as he had to do in the NFC Championship game. That's culture right there. Culture works in other ways, too. A lot of young players have earned reps and blossomed in Detroit over Campbell's tenure. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a 4th-round pick on a floundering 2021 team, is the best example. He worked his way into the slot job and has become one of the best receivers in the league a few seasons later. Ifeatu Melifonwu, who had all the makings of a bust, was a critical player late last season as a light bulb finally clicked for him at safety. It's hard to build a locker room of faith and patience like that, and Campbell has done that expertly. Some of Campbell's best decisions look obvious in hindsight, but it's easy to forget how bold they were at the time, bumping Penei Sewell, an elite left tackle in college, to right tackle. Remember how we talked about that ad nauseum, saying, what are the Lions doing? Why would you take this guy at left tackle and move him to right tackle? Firing an established offensive coach in Anthony Lynn to promote Ben Johnson, an unknown coach with no play calling experience at the time, to offensive coordinator to save Jared Goff's career. I mean, some of these things that are brilliant now, think back then.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Let's talk about Ben Johnson for a second, who is probably the best offensive coordinator on the list. Detroit's offense has been a top 10 and expected points added in each of the past 2 seasons. He's received several head coaching interviews accordingly, this with a quarterback who the Rams had to pay the Lions to take on, with a receiver room perilously thin behind St. Brown, without a single splashy free agent addition save for David Montgomery. As a non-head coach play caller, Johnson is the best in the business. And on the other side of the ball, Glenn was voted the top-ranked coordinator in the league by the Players Association. The metrics of Detroit's defense aren't as good as the offense, but they took a huge step forward in the run defense last year with a revamped quarterback room, and coverage should catch up. So much love for the Detroit Lions coaching staff, Anson. And if you look collectively, head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and throw Dave Phipp in there as a special teams coordinator.
One of the best.
I'm not sure there's a coaching staff in this league, that I would take over the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I love our knee biters. Absolutely. A couple of things that you brought up. One thing is the hindsight. When that interview hit about biting kneecaps, it was so polarizing. I mean, everybody thought that the circus was still in town and that we had just brought in another retread that was going to be gone in 3 or 4 years.
Not everybody.
Or many people did.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
The Jared Goff, I did too, but there was a lot of people. It was very polarizing.
Absolutely.
The Jared Goff, everybody thought he was done. And then you talk about the 4th down decisions, another massively polarizing, consistent move that we saw out of this coaching staff. But Ryan spoke to the fact that he's had the team support through each and every one of those 4th downs, every one of those 2-point conversions. Every time Dan the Gambler has rolled the dice, he has had the complete faith of his team before, during, and after, win, lose, or draw. So the fact that he's been able to buck the traditional way that coaches call games and never lose his team, and in fact, instill confidence in them for the next time they get in that fourth down is something that I can't say I've ever seen out of a coach. I think that you're going to see it become a trend, and we've seen some teams start pushing more on fourth downs and second downs, but nobody does it like our Lions do.
That's facts. And they didn't build this off of talent. They didn't build this off of hiring the best coaches. They built this off culture. That was the one thing this whole time that they have pushed 100%. Culture, grit. You know, I know it's a cheesy word, but they actually took that and made it mean something. They did it the right way. They went against the grain, hiring all players on their staff, former players, you know, on the coaching staff. At the time, that was kind of unheard of. Yeah, you would get a few, you know, former players here and there, but the whole staff, like, they did this the way they wanted to do it, and they did it the right way, and they took their time. They didn't rush it. They took their time. We took our lumps, 3-13. You know, we're all like the sky is falling. This is happening again. 1-6 the next year, and then the train starts rolling.
Yeah, and Lions fans are just so used to being beaten down and things going the wrong way that last year they're not playing Isaiah Buggs.
Yeah,
and everybody's upset about it. Well, a year later, we realized that man did not fit into this new culture here.
Facts.
And each year there's been somebody that's kind of been held on the fringe at Lion playing, why are you doing that? He should be active. In hindsight, these guys, year after year, have made the right decisions, no matter how polarizing they were at the time. I mean, I got a buddy, Lee McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike, Ife Melifonwu, all of these guys that they said were wasted draft picks. And then 2 years later, they're key players.
The LA Rams coaching staff, number 3 on this list. San Francisco at 4, Baltimore at 5. Interesting. Green Bay at 8, just some of the other coaching staffs in the division. Minnesota at 10. So you've got 3 of the top 10 coaching staffs within your NFC North, the Chicago Bears and Matt Eberflus. Where does he come in? I thought he came in at 30. Let me see. It's
he better be down there.
It is down there. It's like 20. Well, here we go. Keep going. 25.
Okay.
25.
The Bears will not be in the playoffs this year, and they will not be in the playoffs next year. So
yeah,
most likely.
But as a whole, they're going to be way more competitive than they've been in years past. And you know, I've been watching Hard Knocks a lot, and I do find myself kind of backpedaling a little bit on my Bears take.
I thought you were going to say rooting.
No, just
not rooting.
Just backpedaling a little bit on my Bears take, because I do believe now that Caleb Williams is a lot better at this level than I thought he would be. And I know he hasn't played a game yet, but I thought the kid would not be very good at this level, and I think I'm going to be very wrong about that. I think Matt Eberflus is kind of I don't want to say joke of a head coach. There's no such thing in the NFL to be a joke of a head coach, but I did not think too highly of him. After watching this, I do think highly of him, and that team rallied around him last year when they could have been left for dead, and I do think there's something to be said for that when your team rallies around the head coach. So again, if that's the worst team in your division, you know, if that's kind of the worst franchise in your division, and that floor has really kind of stepped up a little bit. So, I think that the division over the next few years is in really, really tough shape, really good shape.
But
it's
tough for the Lions.
Absolutely going to be a lot tougher. So it just goes back to, and whether it's Sports Illustrated saying that, you know, they believe you're going to win the Super Bowl, whether it's ESPN saying you've got the second best coaching staff heading into 2024, whether it's the fans' expectations on this football team, the bottom line is you have to take care of the job when the opportunity presents itself to you. If you look at the NFC right now, and I think a big part of that, all of the dogs are in the AFC. I mean, all the dogs. You could pick 5, 6, 7 teams in the AFC, and if I told you they were going to make the Super Bowl, you'd be like, yep, I see that. You cannot do that in the NFC. It is Detroit, San Francisco, Philadelphia. That's it. Green Bay, maybe. I'd like to see Green Bay do it for a full season before I get on that train.
And they have injury problems all the time, too.
Absolutely.
And a coach that can't get over the hump.
But again, you're also talking Brock Purdy. You're talking Jared Goff. You're talking Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love. Okay? I mean, those 4 quarterbacks are really good quarterbacks. But again, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson,
Right.
Joe Burrow,
Yep.
Josh Allen,
Justin
Tua,
Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
You know, I mean, the list goes on and on. And if, by the way, you think I'm crazy about this, but if Deshaun Watson could resemble anything, anything at all, and I'm not sure he can.
Yeah, I think he
But-
could. But I get what you mean.
But Deshaun Watson was a top 3, top 4 quarterback in this league.
He was
a
at one
couple of
point.
years
Easy.
ago.
At one point, yeah.
So I mean, just look out for these guys. You know what I mean? In the AFC, it won't always be like that. So again, when the opportunity presents itself, you've got to bust down that door. And I think this is the year that the Detroit Lions absolutely have to bust down that door for the Super Bowl. There are no excuses. Right now, you have everything you possibly could want in a football organization from top to bottom. Even the practice squad guys who are going to wind up on the practice squad, the depth that this team has at every position is something that we haven't seen in this city in a long time. But I would tell you that, roster construction, top to bottom, this is as talented a roster in the NFC.
By far. I mean, our whole lives as Detroit Lions fans, we've been hoping for them to be predicted to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But to your point about the practice squad, we got probably 4 or 5 guys that won't even make it to the practice squad. These are going to be guys that the lower third of the NFL are going to be scooping up. And that was a position, as Lions fans, we saw our team in every offseason, waiting until the end of October or August to see who we could scoop off of somebody else's team to kind of lift up our paltry roster. But that is not the way anymore. But, your point is a great one, but it's super unsettling because, of course, we finally have a Super Bowl favorite or at least Super Bowl possibility Lions team. And, of course, we have the best NFC North that I can remember in my memory.
No doubt. Right. I completely believe that as well. So more Lions talk. We get some more news. We'll get there next. We're going to talk a little NFL. But next, a defensive coordinator had said something that is going to tick off Anson Wells. I am deliberately doing this.
I can't wait.
I heard this morning at 6:30 in the morning, and I was like, Anson's going to love this. He's going to have a field day with this.
I have no idea what's coming.
Going to play it for you, and we're going to react. We'll talk about college football. We'll do that next. But first, let me tell you about Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. Looking for a new car? Maybe you're looking for a pre-owned car. Maybe you need some service. Les Stanford has it all for you in a location near you. Les Stanford has added the Buick GMC brands with a dealership in Ferndale on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. They've added those Buick GMC brands to better serve you, the customer. Also, if you're looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford for over 5 decades. This family has done business in the city of Dearborn on Michigan Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. Or excuse me, just off of Michigan Avenue. So Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac in Dearborn. Les Stanford Buick GMC in Ferndale. Always open online at lesstanford.com. lesstanford.com. Together, let's drive.
And we kind of talked about it at the beginning of the show. The Ally Challenge presented by McLaren is back. And it starts today, goes through the 25th at the beautiful Warwick Hills of Grand Blanc, Michigan. Again, we'll be there live broadcasting from the tournament. Make sure that you come out and leave the golf to the pros and don't miss the party at hole number 17. They'll have $2 birdie beers, concerts, and more. Get your tickets at allychallenge.com, and it is brought to you by our fine friends at Randy Wise Automotive.
The countdown to kickoff is here. Your Detroit Lions are ready for another season of grit. Woodward Sports is your #1 destination for all breaking news and Lions coverage. We are Detroit's #1 sports network. We are Woodward Sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody!
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Try out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home?
Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Give your pet the best, and if my wife will let me get a pet, I will give him the best. But Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences of the online and big box retailers, with one major difference: family and locally owned and operated for 30 plus years. That's a long time. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. Same day, local, curbside, and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best, and you can go to premierpetsupply.com.
Whenever it's critical for you to have your insurance reviewed, and Swiss Insurance will make sure that your carrier is not slipping in those extra fees. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today, 313-530-1698, or head to SwissINS.com. Anson.
Fitness that fits your budget. That is, that one right there, Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
All right. No matter where you're at, you're going to find one. There's over 50 just in the Metro Detroit area, with over 1,000 throughout the country and the world. At Planet Fitness, you're going to experience a squeaky clean gym and that non-judgment environment. Friendly and knowledgeable staff as well. And did you know that all Planet Planet Fitness memberships include fitness training for no extra cost? That's right. They've also got a PF Black Card. You upgrade to that, you're going to get access to amenities such as unlimited use of the Black Card Spa. That features hydro massage, massage chairs, and total body enhancement. And again, with over 2,500 plus locations worldwide. For more information or to sign up and join today, get online and check them out at www.planetfitness.com.
Welcome back. Anson Wells in for Braylon today. Maz out as well. KG, Pete Spivak here with me, Ryan Ermanni. Welcome in. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Subscribe to Woodward Sports. Tell a friend about us as well. We're going to have a great football season ahead.
Can't wait.
As soon as Labor Day hits, my goodness, it's off to the races. But I saw this, okay, and look, the sign stealing thing is what it is. You'll never convince me, and I'm sure I'll never convince you. The facts could hit you in the face.
Yeah.
And people don't care. You know, Sean Baligian, who fills in at this network quite a bit, said this over a decade ago, maybe 15 years ago. And it's so true. And the statement is, facts are mean. people don't like facts. They only like their narrative. Okay, they only like. That's why I like it. Just to relate it to a political thing. You're on the right, you only watch Fox News. You're on the left, you only watch MSNBC or CNN. You know, stuff like that. Like if you love Michigan, you're only watching the Michigan stuff. Either way, just trying to make a point here. This is the defensive coordinator for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Here's what he had to say about college football and stealing signs. Take a listen to this and let me know what you think.
A lot. Like, it's so funny. You'll be shocked. During the week, I know offense all around the country. They're going to get the TV copy, and they're looking at the signals. Yeah, just one person. That's your only job. Look at the signals. And then boom. Oh, we can't get the defensive signals. Okay, well, let's see what the defensive players are signaling. Then they'll try to get it that way. You know, so they got different ways. I remember we played Louisville, and he was really good. And I saw the TV copy, and I could just see the whole time he's just like this, just watching. And in halftime, they got the signals. So we played him the next year. I was at UCF. We played him that next year, and I got his contact, and I called him like, "Hey, man, I need to." And he sent me the whole thing. And he said, "This is what we had." And it was like 80% correct. So we had to change our signals because they just pass it around. So they're just sending it to the next. So we played SMU and Rhett Lashley to them, and they had the same signals. I wasn't mad that he sent it around. I would have been mad if we didn't change it. So it's huge, like just signals, and it's perfectly legal. I know teams right now that have two guys on the field because you usually have them in the box. So you know, all the times you see a lot of these teams behind the actual team, they pull out these big curtains behind it. If it wasn't important, they wouldn't be doing it. 80% of the teams in America, when they signal, they pull out the big curtain behind so the guys in the press box can't get them. Well, they done smarten up. They done put them on the field. So they got two guys, and they just sit here and try to get it. So you got to have ways of hiding your signals, you know. So you can always know, like, when a play happens, you go, "Hey, man, they got our signals." Because it's just like the perfect play. You just know. All over college football. So that's not, man, it's nothing new. It's not one of those deals where it's like unethical or something like that. Like, they do it. If you're crazy enough to keep the same signals, that's on you.
I just think, you know, truth bombs are very important to help put context behind so many things. What Connor Stalions allegedly did, and I say allegedly, he was on the sidelines for Central Michigan. Why he was there, how he was there, it is what it is. I'm not excusing what he did. But what I am saying is that if the signs are the signs and everybody steals the signs, is it, how do I want to say, does it even matter how you get them?
I mean, it really should.
Does it even matter how you get them? Like, if you're Rutgers, if you're Ohio State, if you're Penn State, if you're Alabama, shouldn't you change your signs weekly like baseball teams do? You know, with the third base coach or the pitching coach or whoever's signaling what pitch to throw from the dugout. Like, isn't that incumbent upon you? And if everybody is stealing signs, and that's not me saying that everybody is stealing signs, that is the defensive coordinator for the Arkansas Razorbacks, who's just telling it like it is. Right. And he's not the only one, by the way, KG.
And it's not an illegal act.
And it's not an illegal act. He said it's not even unethical. He's like, you're dedicated.
Right.
So if stealing signs is, you know, a thing and appropriate and everybody's doing it, like, and everybody's right, and they just pass it around. That's what he said. He's like, okay, so one guy gets the signs, and they work out. They're 80% right, so they just give it to the next opponent.
Yep.
I mean, at some point, is it like, give it up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You would think.
Give it up.
Anson over here licking his chops, though. He got something to say to you.
You have the floor.
Go ahead. The
when
Empire
Corn
and all
Blue
this
changes their motto from leaders and best to everyone cheats. That's your narrative now. because they're not talking about being better than the rest. They're talking about how they're the same as the rest. And one thing that was noticeably absent in your video, Ryan, or what I heard, was the videotape. Now, we've got a guy named Jake Costner who served under Jim Harbaugh for 4 years, the former quarterbacks coach of CMU. And why is that, Ryan? Oh, because he gave access to an agent of the Wolverine football program to sideline access with a pair of video camera Ray-Bans to access signal stealing. And if you think that this kid, Connor Stallions, just called up some random guy, Jake Costner, and said, hey, buddy, can I get on your sideline? I know you don't know Jim Harbaugh. You're crazy, okay? This is a conspiracy to defraud your opponent perpetrated by the University of Michigan. This isn't just sign stealing.
I should have
okay?
never brought up the topic.
You shouldn't have brought it up. You shouldn't have brought it up because you guys keep coming back because you guys are guilty. And you guys feel the guilt, and that's why you guys keep bringing it up, and that's why you keep telling everybody that everybody cheats. Well, congratulations. You're no longer the leaders and best. You're just another cheater like everyone else. Go Blue!
Yeah, see, here's where I'm a little different.
Clip that, baby.
Here's where I'm a little different from, maybe some other. Go Blue, baby.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm a little different from some other Michigan fans. I don't claim high moral authority.
Thank you.
I don't sit here and say.
Well, I should hope not if you're a Wolverine fan.
No.
Come on.
I don't.
Where's Dr. Bob when you need him?
I don't sit here and say, "Oh, we're so great," and you're not.
Mm-hmm.
I actually encourage Michigan to go right up to the line and pursue that because I do believe that is really, truly the only way you can compete in today's college football.
Absolutely.
And I did not like going 7-5 every year. I don't like going 6-6. I don't like going 8-4. Hell, I don't like going 10-2. I don't like the ceiling being just beat Ohio State once every 20 years, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
That's not me as a Michigan fan. I am, hey, let's get down and dirty with these guys, and let's go compete for national championships. And I do believe Michigan won the national championship on the field last year.
Yes, sir.
And the gauntlet that they had to go through in order to do that, I think satisfies me as a Michigan fan. I don't believe they cheated. And again, we could rehash this all we want.
I mean, the NCAA believes they cheated.
The NCAA does not believe they cheated because
wait a second. Let's do some math.
Whoa, let me just say this. The NCAA president, after the national championship was won, the NCAA president said Michigan won the national championship fair and square. Those were his words, not mine.
Yep.
Those were his words as the president of the NCAA. So I'm just sitting here laying out the table of contents. I am sitting out here labeling. Let me give you the facts.
And let's do some mathematic facts.
By the way, thanks, Freddie Felt 313 donated $5 to say
Freddie.
that Anson is my boy. Shout out! Can't wait to do a post game again this season. But I am going to make a Purple Source Rex Kool-Aid out of your tears. Go Blue.
Purple Source Rex.
There you go.
So let's do some math, Ryan. You seem like a math guy.
Mm-hmm.
How many other teams have been penalized for stealing signals? You can use your fingers if you want to use them.
I don't know.
0? There's 0, right? And how many times have
what's the penalty?
How many times has Michigan been penalized now for the same act? Well, let me see. 1.
I don't know what you're
2.
talking about.
So the
Which
math
penalty? The Jim
shows
Harbaugh suspension?
Didn't they just come back and levy some more that he's suspended now?
That was
again?
That was not for the sign stealing investigation.
Yeah, that's for the recruiting.
That was for the recruiting violation.
And it's a year suspension, and he's not even coming back to college football.
That was just purely for the recruiting violations of buying the cheeseburger and misremembering the who paid for it.
And if you're going to talk about that, talk about the Iowa coach that was just busted recently.
And for getting the player verified on Instagram. That's what they were suspended.
So how many times were you guys suspended last year? How many times?
Self-suspensions, by the way.
Universe,
self-imposed.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Next time I get pulled over, I'm going to self-impose myself a ticket.
Like the college football is so funny because, as you mentioned, KG, Kirk Ferentz, an assistant coach, were suspended one game for violating transfer portal rules with Cade McNamara.
Cheaters.
So Kirk Ferentz of all guys.
Cheaters.
And by the way, Cade McNamara of all quarterbacks.
Yes, man.
This is who the NCAA is going after.
Mm-hmm.
The NCAA is going after these these like nothing burgers.
Yeah.
I don't know if like you think Ferentz, like, come on, man. You're out there. DJ Uiagalelei is playing for his 4th college football team this year. He's going to start for the number 10 Florida State Seminoles. How much money is he making? And you're gonna suspend Kirk Ferentz a game because he might have called Cade McNamara a day too early? I mean, come on. This Kirk Ferentz suspension highlights the sheer incompetence and delusion of the NCAA and who they think they are in 2024.
Right.
This suspension of Kirk Ferentz alone highlights the inadequacies of, it's like I don't know. I can't make that analogy on I was going to make a terrible analogy, and I had a mental self-edit because that's in my best interest to not say that.
Is it painful for a Wolverine fan that the fact that your 2 national championships in the last 70 years were shared and
I never considered
and have an asterisk next to them?
No, I never considered the 97 one as anything other than Michigan was the national champions because it's just, the only people that really bring that up are Spartan fans.
Right.
I mean, honestly.
And Nebraska fans.
And Nebraska fans, probably.
Fans. Yeah, Nebraska fans too,
Man, what a convenient fandom it must be for you guys. Crazy.
I mean,
it's got an answer for everything.
Yeah, I mean,
same as you.
Yeah, it really highlights to me like who the NCAA is and their relevance. I think that's the word I was looking for. Their relevance or none thereof.
Yeah.
In
they can't regulate their own league. Yeah, and they got to keep it consistent now, which is why I think we see the Iowa suspension, because after everything they did with Michigan, you got to call it all out now. So this is ridiculous, man.
Because they don't want the cat out of the bag.
Exactly, and the NCAA has been ridiculous for quite a while now.
KG, do you have any Walmart gift certificates for the chat?
I do not.
Okay, because they could use some hoodies before this coming
So
season.
that's another thing. I saw some. I don't remember where I saw this, but about the Michigan fans in this Walmart situation.
Yeah, Walmart Wolverines.
That always bugged me. The Walmart stuff, because Michigan is a very difficult school to get into.
It is.
When did you become a football fan? At what age?
Well, Billy Sims was running the ball. So what was it, 85?
So you were a youngster.
Yeah, my dad had season tickets.
You didn't become a football fan at the age of 18, your freshman year in college.
Not at all.
No. Pete, when did you become a football fan?
Basically my whole life, my friend.
So as a kid.
Yep.
KG, what year do you think, how old were you when you became a football fan?
Around 4 or 5 years old.
Around 4 or 5 years old. What age do you go to college?
18.
18. So you had about a 13 to 14 year period of being a football fan prior to even thinking about which college you're going to go to.
Yep.
I never understood the Walmart part because I think that is a total disrespect to like a childhood of fandom.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, maybe, and also, and I'm not saying you do say this, but maybe somebody out there doesn't have $100,000 to go spend $25K a year at Michigan, or want to come out with $100K in debt.
It's not that though, Ryan. It is the behavior of non-alumni fans versus alumni fans. And because I grew up maize and blue, got accepted to both schools, got waitlisted in Michigan, but eventually got in. Visited both schools, chose East Lansing. Now, as I went to state, started to, Mateen lived right behind me, started to know these guys, was real close with LaVale Richardson, and, we won a national championship in 2000. It's really hard when you see your buddies winning that kind of stuff to not convert. But in the midst of my conversion, I started looking at my fellow Michigan fan very differently because they're rabid, and you cannot approach them with anything but leaders and best. And you will get attacked it's like being a Spartan is like being a vegan, all right? You guys are the ones eating other lives, but yet you're mad at us because we choose not to. And that's how I've started to feel, and it's so present when you're a Spartan fan or alumni or what have you. There is a, what's the word I'm looking for? But you're just entitled. There's an entitlement to Michigan fan. And when you talk to a Michigan alumni, they love their team, but they're more realistic. They're kinder. They're not as rabid. The Walmart Wolverine Michigan fan is the guy that's probably never even been to a game in Ann Arbor, and the guy that will attack you on the street for wearing a Spartan hoodie, you losers, little brother, this and that. And we had our little time with our football team being real strong, and we got to hang our, hold our heads high. But I've just never seen Spartan fan act towards Michigan fan the way that Michigan fan acts towards Spartan fan. And I've been on both sides of it. I will absolutely hang on my hat on that take, and that is why I have the feeling towards most Michigan fans that I do.
Okay, let's just assume you're right in that, and I'm sure there are Michigan fans like that.
Of course.
I will say that it's probably more of a defense mechanism too, because they are so attacked by you guys. They are attacked left and right. It's
Absolutely.
Like incoming. It is like incoming. So you can't help but try to shoot back a little bit.
I just don't
think it's a defense mechanism.
I don't think that Wolverine fans really understand, because it's not the same. And I've been on both sides of it. The vitriol from Michigan fan is so much more than what I've ever experienced when I was a Michigan fan receiving it from Spartan.
So do you think there are Spartan fans out there that never went to Michigan State?
Oh, certainly. And I've seen some of them come up to Braylon and say, hey, Braylon, go green.
Of 100, let me ask you this. Of 100 Michigans, just to put easy numbers on it, of 100 Michigan State football fans, how many of them went to Michigan State? How many of them did not?
I mean, it's probably very similar statistics to Michigan, but
you think so?
Well, I'd say that probably more Spartans went there just because it's a bigger school. It's 40,000 kids.
Right. See, I would say that for Michigan, I would say for Michigan fans, for every Michigan fan out there, I would say 5 went to school there and 95 did not.
Yeah, and it's probably like 15 Spartans.
And the reason I say this is because I just think that, like, in this city, you're well, where I live anyway, you're closer to Ann Arbor than you are to East Lansing.
Right.
And it's just been better sports teams over the years.
Well,
so you root for them as a kid.
But at the same time, to Michigan's defense, a large portion of the students that go there and their alumni are from California. They're from New York. There's a lot of kids that go there from out of country. It is a destination school. It is an intellectual powerhouse. I'll never try and take that away from them. But you go to that big house, and there's so many students and alumni that own the tickets there. Place should be a lot louder for 100,000 people.
Well, it depends what the game is, too, because there's never been a louder stadium than in 2021 when Michigan beat Ohio State in the snow. That was an
Ford Field in 2023.
Well, of open air stadium.
Okay. Yeah,
that was as loud. I think of the Michigan argument as I don't live in the city limits of Detroit. So can I not be as big of a Detroit Lions fan as somebody who may live within the city limits of Detroit? I mean, I think it's like kind of like
there's no Lions University for you to go to. It's a little different.
But so if you live in the city of Detroit, does that mean you're a bigger Detroit Lions fan than me that lives in the suburbs?
No, because you never had a chance to go to Lions University.
But I do have a chance to live in the city of Detroit if I wanted to.
But you have a chance to leave and maintain your Honolulu Blue instead of becoming a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, I mean, again, I hate the argument because you become a sports fan so much earlier than the age of 18. Right. And I think there's so much that goes into it. There's economics that go into it. And by the way, like I had all 4 points in high school. Not to say anything, but I was waitlisted at Michigan.
Same.
And I got in eventually, but I had all 4 points.
I didn't have enough activities.
Not everybody, you know what I mean? Not everybody can do that. So I don't begrudge anybody that wants to be a Michigan fan that just doesn't go to the school.
My thing is this: just don't denigrate my university to me when you didn't go to yours. Or when you didn't go to the one that you followed.
That's like saying you can't be against the Bears.
But I don't talk smack on your high school team. It's the same deal.
But State give it back just as much, if not more.
Oh, God. You guys are ruthless over there.
You guys are not even a real take, KG.
I still hear about trouble with the snap. To this day, it's bad.
By the way, how are you guys going to be? What is your – I mean, I think I asked you this before, but what is Michigan State expecting? We don't talk a lot of Spartans on this show for obvious reasons. We just, to be quite frank with you, it's not our forte. Like, I just don't know as much about the Spartans as I know about anything else, so I'm not going to.
Well, there's not a lot to know right now. And I think that pretty much every Spartan fan at this point is just hoping for an establishment of culture. Because the void that was created and left by the coach that I will not name, and the program that did that coach dirty. I don't know what happened in that situation, but it was just such an implosion for Ace Lansing that we're kind of in that same spot that the Lions were in a few years ago, where we just don't know what direction we're in. We know it's not good, though.
Seems like an implosion from Mel Tucker, too, by the way.
That's the man I would not name.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, guys. We are going to take a break. When we come back, we'll go around the NFL. We'll also talk a little Tigers. We'll get some Tigers in the mix. We're also going to check in this hour with Dr. Jeff Pierce as well. We'll touch on some of the Lions injuries that are happening, what we can really expect with these guys, all that and so much more. But first, a message from our friends at KDK Law, dealing with divorce, child custody, visitation, or other family law issues. Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back. 10 plus years of experience and 24/7 availability. Scan the QR code above right now or call 248-971-0476, 248-971-0476. Say Woodward Sports sent you, and KDK will pay your filing fee. KDK Law, they've got your back.
And speaking of the law, it's not a good idea to break into a home with a black and yellow sign out in front of the house, which tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
Let Guardian Alarm off the customized solutions from real experts, 24/7 professional monitoring and technology backed by people. These people have been proven to care, and this technology has been proven to work, so call 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you. We'll be right back.
And with the first pick in the 2024 Media Draft, Detroit selects Woodward Sports. Thank you for making us the #1 digital network in Detroit.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
The Ally Challenge presented by McLaren is back August 22nd through 25th at Warwick Hills and Grand Blanc. Be there for PGA Tour Champions Golf, Family Night, concerts, and more. Tickets start at just $15. Get yours at allychallenge.com today.
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness. Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home?
Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and Thursdays during our show Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, where he offers up top-notch injury advice. And trust the guy that Deke Mack trusts. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to help keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more info, visit michigansportsandspine.com or call 248-426-9944, Ryan.
All right, and don't forget that awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, sit back, relax, let one of Lady Jane's talented stylists make you look and feel great. Several locations around the Metro Detroit area, several more around the country. There is one near you. Lady Jane's, it's open 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. By the way, Aiden Childs, I just saw this video, the Michigan State Spartans quarterback. Who's this from? This is from Aiden Champion, deputy editor, publisher, Sports Illustrated, Raiders Today, Sports Illustrated, Spartans Nation. Aiden Childs on Spartans season opener. Quote, "If you bet, take the over."
Oh,
yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
Well, at least it'll be fun to watch.
I'm surprised the NCAA hasn't come down on that and investigated that.
Right.
And,
something's going on over there.
Anywho, guys, let's go around the NFL, shall we?
Let's do it.
Big trade today in the NFL. Kind of a big trade, I think.
No, I think it's big.
Jahan Dotson, the #2 receiver in Washington. Final week of the regular season of the training game, traded within the division to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles sent back a 3rd-round pick and 2 7ths. I'm befuddled by this, other than to say maybe there's another move coming at some point for Washington.
I think
I'm going to hit you with something that I have on good authority, and that is that A.J. Brown was the catalyst of the fall of the Eagles last year.
Really?
And he was guilty of some infidelity with another player's spouse.
Okay.
Now, for you fantasy footballers, keep that in mind when you're drafting him. Devontae Smith, one of the most underrated receivers in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But Jahan Dotson, this is a guy that I've almost had 10 touchdowns his rookie year.
I had him on my fantasy team.
Really faded last year, and I felt like between him and Scary Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels had his 1-2 punch to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. So this trade for me from the Washington Commies, excuse me, almost said the wrong mascot there. The Commies, this is a real head scratcher for me. If I am the Eagles and I'm keeping A.J. Brown and I'm bringing in Jahan Dotson to be my #3 wide receiver, that's a Super Bowl look. I still think, like you said, whether it's Washington or maybe even Philly, there's more to this story still.
Really interesting that Washington would do this with their rookie quarterback, ship out.
I hear you.
I think that's a big deal.
I don't think it's the biggest deal when you look at the fact that they got a 3rd and 2 7s. They have the 2nd most cap space in the league next year at like $91 million, something like that. And I think this year, I think they're trying to not necessarily tank, but if they get a higher draft pick, I think they'll be okay with that, and they start building from within. But I think they got a plan here, but why would you trade Jahan Dotson unless you're trying, to have better draft position and maybe take advantage of that free agency next year?
Can I talk about their wide receiver room here real quick? You got Luke McCaffrey, who they just picked, and I know that he's had a good
Poor
camp.
Dylan McCaffrey, by the way. Remember Dylan McCaffrey?
Yeah, I remember
Michigan
him,
quarterback.
Yeah, and then you got Diami Brown, who has just been a failure thus far. And now we're talking about Alameda Zacchaeus, Jamison Crowder, who's way past his prime. Byron Pringle, Martavis Bryant is on this roster.
I'm telling you.
So I don't see this making sense. I get that you get an opportunity for next year, KG, to have a nice 3rd round pick, but you're giving up a guy. Wasn't he a 1st rounder?
Yeah, absolutely.
2 years ago.
was a 1st rounder, so in year 3.
Under the old regime, though.
Yeah,
he's
but
24 years old. Ownership.
24 years old. In year 3, you're deeming this guy a failure, and you're taking away one of the most substantial weapons on this Washington offense from a rookie quarterback.
Because they're not trying to compete this year.
There's more to this story than we're seeing right now.
Hey, by the way, just while I'm thinking of third string wide receivers or number 3 wide receivers, the more I see this thing play out, the more I believe that the Lions are out on Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to take a miracle for him to make this football team, and I'm not even sure that one of the things when you see this where we are in the training camp in the exhibition season 2, you're going to start seeing guys get cut all over the league.
Yep.
And trades are made. And even, watch this. So Ryan Poles on Hard Knocks. I'm going to get there eventually, but this is Ryan Poles on Hard Knocks, how he almost traded for Matthew Judon. This is happening all over the league right now.
Patriots edge rusher Matthew Judon is on the market, and Poles is working hard to make a trade.
So we did a Judon conversation today. He only played 4 games, hit a bicep. So just from an analytics standpoint, kind of where he's at, so just wins at it. He's 50th among defensive ends. To put in perspective, Sweat's 14th. We believe he would help us get better. Just his style, we think having a bicep rather than like a lower body injury, he still would play to the same intensity and explosion as we did before. It does come with risk, though, at 32.
You've got some things working, huh?
Yeah.
Think we'll get it over the finish line?
I do.
Yeah.
Our language is basically saying if the contract's not signed, then he reverts back to New England. So, cover, so.
What do we get?
It'd be 3. So all that would happen fast.
Yeah, okay. Just keep it close.
Okay.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Poles has met New England's asking price of a 3rd-round pick. But unless Judon agrees to a contract extension with the Bears, Chicago won't make the deal.
So I did a poor job of setting that up, other than to say that these conversations are happening all over the league now.
Yeah.
Players, teams wanting to acquire other players, teams waiting for other players to get cut. And don't forget, this is the first year, I believe, where there is one cut. All the players get cut on the same day.
Oh, yeah.
In the past, it was get down to 85, then get down to 60, then get down to 53, and so forth. This is a year where all players get cut on the same time, on the same day. And I just don't think Peoples-Jones makes this team anymore. And moreover, I think what you're going to see on Saturday is Hendon Hooker play almost this entire game.
Yeah, I can see it.
I think they're going to see if they got anything there. And I think they're comfortable in knowing what they have in Nate Sudfeld.
Do you think that, and I agree, but do you think that him playing at least all of the first half the result of that could push Sudfeld off this team?
I think Sudfeld is on the team for sure.
For sure.
For sure. And 99% I'm confident that Sudfeld is on the team.
As the number 2 or as the clipboard holder?
As the number 2 right now.
Right now.
Right
being
now.
the keyword.
Right now,
I
depending
think that
upon
changes after this weekend.
depending upon what Hooker does. And again, so whether Hooker's if heaven forbid Jared Goff goes down, there's no doubt in my mind who is going to be the quarterback to come into that game.
Thank you.
It's going to be Hendon Hooker.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going somewhere else.
It's not Nate.
Even if when this official depth chart comes out, you don't be shocked if you see Nate Sudfeld still the number 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
He just isn't going to see the field.
Yeah.
And again, there is look, we give Dan Campbell the benefit of the doubt on everything, and he deserves that.
Does.
There is no doubt in my mind, okay, that he is going to put Nate Sudfeld as the number 2 quarterback over Hendon Hooker.
With your season on the line.
Well, with the season on the line, but at the same time, if Dan Campbell doesn't believe that Nate Sudfeld is better than Hendon Hooker at this point, maybe the capability, maybe it's the playbook, maybe it's the language, maybe it's the cadence, maybe it's whatever it is. Dan Campbell puts the best player in position on the field at every position, and that's not going to change at backup quarterback.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to throw some hissy fit if I see Sudfeld QB2 and Hendon Hooker QB3.
Right.
And even if, heaven forbid, Jared Goff does go out and Sudfeld comes in for one series and hands it off 3 times, Hendon Hooker is going to be the quarterback for this team.
Yeah.
Period.
If we can see it, they can see it. We'll just leave it at that. Like, come on, it's eyes can tell you what's going on here.
And to be fair, what the eyes are seeing is something we've never seen in Detroit. Because as much of a gamer as Stafford was, as perfect as Goff is for this team, the skill set that Hendon Hooker brings to this offense is like marrying Rodney Peete, Andre Ware, and a whole lot of Stafford together in one.
Yeah.
Some athleticism, some moxie, and a hell of a cannon.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good stuff there. All right, Caleb Williams. By the way, last week of the preseason begins tonight. 2 games tonight, including the Chicago Bears and the Kansas City Chiefs. Caleb Williams will not play. Most of the Bears starters will not play. And I don't believe we're going to see Patrick Mahomes or any of the Chiefs starters as well. So we have seen these 2 teams play their starters throughout the first 2 weeks of the exhibition season. We will not see that tonight.
We were wrong on Caleb, weren't we?
I think we were. I think I was. I've
been spot on the whole time.
I have him as my number 3. I had him behind JJ and then Jaden at number 1. The excitement over his preseason stuff, I don't think it's as accurate as what I saw. I saw him force some plays, pass some second and third string corners, but his mobility, which is one of my big question marks for him, watching his rushing and mobility just tank over the 3 years there from a 3.9 yards per carry down to 0.9 his last season. But he's looked very mobile. He's looked very capable at ad-libbing as the play happens. I'm just wondering if this guy is going to put this team into some bad situations in trying to do too much and trying to create too much on the run as a rookie. Now, in year 2, year 3, he could be very well suited for this when he has a firm grasp, not only on the playbook, but also his team. But I think that he's going to try and do too much just enough to keep the Bears out of the playoffs.
Yeah, and look, I think it's a tall task to ask for the Chicago Bears to make the playoffs this year, but we'll see what they can do. Their over-under for the win total is 8.5 this year. I'm going to go under that because, I mean, I could see it 8 and 9. I don't know if they...
I like 8 and 9.
I don't know if they, have a winning record. 9 and 8 might get you in.
It might.
I mean, just look at the schedule there. I mean...
If they're in the NFC South, would you pick them?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Houston, At Indy is going to be difficult. Let's just say Houston, at Indy, the Rams. Those are 3 losses. Jacksonville, you never know. I mean,
so let me slow you guys down here
schedule.
real quick.
San Francisco, there's 4 losses right there.
Tampa Bay and Atlanta, the 2 teams that you guys most people are picking to win that division. Let's look at their rosters compared to the Bears. They're all pretty similar.
I think the Bears and the Atlanta Falcons are in the same boat.
In the same boat.
Yeah, as far as like
prefer
talent.
them over Tampa
Dude,
Bay.
you see ESPN today was saying that like Atlanta's a Super Bowl contender. Am I missing the boat on Atlanta? Do I need to get
They
serious
made some
about
power
Atlanta?
Their
moves.
defense got stoked up.
Yeah, they made some power moves, man.
Yeah, it all comes down to that quarterback. I mean, if Cousins can come and return to form and stay healthy, he's got a bevy of assets on the offensive side. And like you guys said, they've built up that defense. But at the same point, I could see Penix come in week 6 and turn a struggling franchise around and make a run. So it's all going to come down to at what point that torch gets handed off in Atlanta. If it's next offseason, it's probably a scary Falcons team.
Hey, remember what I said earlier in the show about Deshaun Watson? If he can get back to being that top 10, top 5 quarterback in the league, they'll have something in Cleveland. Forget it. Deshaun Watson has arm fatigue this early in camp. He's got arm fatigue.
What?
So he is being held out of practice. Status for the preseason finale is unclear. Deshaun Watson, if you're getting arm fatigue this early in camp, that's not a really good sign, I wouldn't think. I mean, I don't want to make too much of it, but again,
that's got to be one of the biggest falls in NFL history. Like,
I mean,
that's crazy.
I mean, honestly, well, no, I don't want to say that name compared to him. I was going to say, aside from, you know what I'm saying.
What? It's close. It's close. It's close.
Where were you going with that?
Aside from OJ.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And I didn't want to say.
Bass would love to hear that name right now.
But, I mean, is there a bigger fall from, I mean, this guy was the darling, man. This guy was,
I mean,
top 4 quarterback in the league.
Are we just talking quarterbacks?
Yeah, just quarterbacks. Well, no, but.
Because Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah,
oh, well, but he was a tight end, though.
But he was a Pro Bowler,
he was great.
All-Pro.
He was great.
Yeah. People didn't like him, though.
True.
Like, you know, he was never like a guy that would, like, people like.
Deshaun was
a
darling for a minute.
Yeah. Especially because they were on Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
You know?
Like you said, he was a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. So Deshaun Watson out. By the way, the Broncos have named Bo Nix the Week 1 starter, worst kept secret. This might be a match made in heaven between Bo Nix and Sean Payton.
You might be right. I thought Bo Nix to be only a system quarterback coming from Oregon, but I don't know, man. Maybe Sean Payton can work that magic over there. They need something, though. You can't start Zach Wilson. I know that for a fact.
No, he's had an incredibly good preseason.
Yeah.
He looks sharp. I don't know what you take out of the preseason. I think these quarterbacks are so much better now.
You remember Chris Winkie?
Of course.
And not to say that he was the same player in college or going to be the same player in the pros, but Chris Winkie came in and he was ready to play. And there's so much emphasis put now on guys what their age is. You want a guy that's 20, 21 coming out of college. But for what the Broncos need and what it looks like they've gotten through the preseason, it's the same player that dominated in the Pac-10 last year. This guy doesn't throw interceptions. He's super accurate, and he's one hell of a leader. And for Sean Payton, that is absolutely 100% what he was looking for and needed. Was number 12 pick he went, 14?
Yeah.
So I think they got their quarterback of the future. Sure, he's 26, but that's 5 years on that first contract. Takes you pretty safely to 30 years old.
Just a couple of people, by the way, a couple of people in the chat have mentioned Ryan Leaf. Ryan Leaf didn't do anything in the pros at all. We're not talking bust. We're just talking about guys that fell off the face of the earth.
And people that had success in the NFL and then fell off.
Ray Rice. Yeah, that's a guy.
Ray
I
Rice
can
is a good
accept
one.
that. That's a really good one. Bo Nix is 37. You better be ready to play. But look, that's part of it. And the same with Penix.
Yeah.
The same with Nix. And that was part of my JJ take too. The age of JJ, 21 years old, compared to like
Hendon Hooker too.
Hendon Hooker,
He's 26.
Hendon Hooker.
And I had so many people telling me that he's too old, that he's washed, he's not going to be good, and I think y'all were wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
Yeah,
we shall
see. Guys, I want to change it up, talk a little baseball coming up next. We'll get to Dr. Pierce. We'll go back to the NFL, all that and more coming up. But first, a message from, let me tell you where the message is from. It's
Pre-game.
from our pregame show.
Hey.
How about that? That's right. Sundays are the place to be here at Woodward Sports. We've got Neil Rule and Sean Belegian going to give you the best Lions
Hell
pregame
of a
show.
duo.
10 a.m. to noon on Woodward Sports. Up-to-date injuries, fantasy starts and sits. They're going to be delivering this as only Neil and Sean can. Home game live at the second best bar in Detroit. Your official guide to the Lions. Sponsored by Sabbath Coffee and Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. How about that? That's Sundays. And what about Terry Foster and Matthew Broder?
Yes,
Sundays
sir.
8 to 9. Our Lions Insiders. How about that?
There's really no reason
Woodward
to
in
leave
Maine,
us.
baby.
There's no
Woodward
reason.
in Maine. Matt Broder, 8 to 9, Woodward in Maine. We've got you covered here on Woodward Sports.
Yeah, and we got you covered in the clothes department as well, man. If y'all looking for some new sports merch, come to us, man. We gonna get you right. We gonna get you together at woodwardsports.com and click that shop tab. We got everything you can imagine: hoodies, sweatshirts, hats, tees, whatever it is. We got you. Get you ready for game day in style, but only if you go to woodwardsports.com and click that shop tab.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
So just to get the heated steering wheel, I also had the spring for the bigger rims.
Yeah, that's how they get you. Those upgrades will cost you an arm and a leg every time.
Hey, new car crew, how'd it go this weekend? I got a great deal on mine.
How?
I went to Randy Wise, not those other guys. They got me in a great new ride, and they didn't break my budget. Hey, could you pass me the sugar?
How?
Never mind.
He made the wise choice.
Yep.
Make the wise choice at randywisechevy.com.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
The countdown to kickoff is here. Your Detroit Lions are ready for another season of grit. Woodward Sports is your #1 destination for all breaking news and Lions coverage. We are Detroit's #1 sports network. We are Woodward Sports.
Dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White and Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 and make your dreams come true. Anson?
Dreaming of honey biscuits?
I am.
Well, that's good because Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza is taking over the state of Michigan.
Taking over.
That's right. They're known for their quality, hand-battered, and hand-breaded chicken tenders, sandwiches, and New York-style pizzas. And, yes, the honey biscuits. They're known for those as well. Their locations are popping up all over Metro Detroit, doubling the number of restaurants over the last year. Soroki's just had their grand opening of their new location in Madison Heights, so go check them out as well. Be sure to stop in and try at a mega station near you, or you can just go online to www.sorokis.com and get your order that way. Get you some biscuits.
Guys, Tigers playing right now. They are losing to the Chicago Cubs 5-0 right now. Tigers losing in the 6-0, end of 4. But last night, Tigers beat the Cubs in Chicago at Wrigley 8-2. This team is an interesting team, man. 3 games under 500. They'll probably be 4 games under 500 after a loss today. It's one of those things with this baseball team. You do see so much promise with these guys. Last night, the first career home run by Sweeney. You see Green with a home run in the 9th. You see Carpenter with a home run in the 9th. And you're like, what this season may have been. I don't want to put too much. I don't want to go overboard on it. I've been guilty of that before. But I think if Kerry Carpenter was in this lineup for the time that he was away, I think we would have seen a lot more wins than we do now. I think this would be an above 500 team if Kerry Carpenter was in the lineup, because he just provides such a punch in the middle of this lineup that they so desperately need. And they are close. You can feel it. You can feel how close they are. And games like last night just kind of show you they were smiling out there. They're hugging each other. They're having fun out there. Parker Meadows is playing good. It's the guys who are doing it that make you feel good about the direction of the franchise. And again, I do think it's a lot easier to do when you don't have a ton of pressure of a playoff race, of a pennant race. These guys have been long out of it, and they're just out there playing baseball right now with really nothing to lose. So I do think it's a little bit easier to play like that. But nonetheless, Anson, I mean, this is a young core that hopefully if you can throw some veterans around it, you've got something here.
Yeah, I've mentioned it before. This is the 2022 Detroit Lions right now. For the last decade, there has been zero identity for the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
And even last year, who was this team? This year, seeing Skubal take that step and then seeing these young guys start to pay off, realizing what we still have in Toledo and with the Whitecaps and even further down. But like you said, Ryan, watching these guys play together and finally having fun out on the diamond, it's been fun for Tigers fans. Now, I didn't think that this team was going to be a 500 team. The fact that we're existing right near it without adding anything, with a massive void at the end of our lineup. We don't have to say his name either, Javi. But this team feels like that 9-8 Lions team that stumbled out of the gates, that made some moves, that put together a nice streak, and ended the season putting promise in the hearts and minds of all Tiger fans here in Detroit and everywhere else. The cupboards are not bare anymore. No. We have a true farm system, and it seems like we have a guy in charge in Scott Harris that isn't ready to just throw things away or give up a bunch of young people to try and get one guy in so that they can hopefully sniff a playoff spot. This guy is accumulating talent, and it's all young.
Yeah.
We just need an owner that's ready to spend some money.
Yeah.
And you got to get some guys back healthy too. I mean, if you look at this, like today, Tyler Holton was the starter. Kenta Maeda pitched. You basically have one starter on this team in Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of bullpen days.
Other than Tarek Skubal, who's starting for this team? They're all bullpen days.
Yeah.
Bo Brisky.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? No offense, Bo. But
it's the truth.
Who started the game last night? Let's see. It was. Hold on. I got it for you right here. It was Bo Brisky who pitched 2 innings, and then you went Bobby Hurler, Hannafy, Holton, and Wentz.
Yeah.
Bobby Hurler.
You're right.
That's a hell of a baseball name right there.
I don't know if his name.
That.
I called him Bobby. I don't know if it's Bobby. I just call Brant.
Yeah.
Brant Herder.
What a shame about Bobby Hurler.
Well,
though.
let me see Bobby. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, no. Yeah, it's Herder. Brant Herder.
Okay.
Hertner. I don't even know. Herder.
He should change his name. The fact that they're existing on openers and mid starters, the guys that are getting 2-3 innings tops, without Jack Flaherty, the fact that they're playing the same level of baseball speaks volumes for where the culture of the Tigers organization is right now.
Yeah.
Maybe you can bring him back. He said he'd like to play here. And I think that as an owner, Chris Ilitch, he sat on his hands this last year for the most part. I would have to guess and certainly hope that he's seen all the things that he's needed to see out of this young team to open the checkbook this offseason. He has to.
Yeah. You will hope so, and you don't want to see him make the same mistake twice. He waited to spend money with Al Avila, and then that money eventually culminated in a Javi Baez. So, I mean, with this team going forward, this is the youth approach. We have to just sit here and take our lumps. It is what it is. For everybody that, if we had got Matt Chapman and this guy, they swear up and down that, and we would probably be further along. Right. I'll give them that, but they were never going to be a World Series type team. So I think this was the right approach. You have a guy in the front office that can identify talent and can identify young talent. So if the owner would just spend a little bit of money, and it doesn't have to be a lot, but 20 to 25 million would go a long way with this team. Protect some of your young guys and be able to push development. I think they can get to a place where they can compete for a wild card next year.
Guys, we've got so much to talk to Dr. Pierce to, so I'm going to extend that segment. So we're going to take a break right now. We'll get Dr. Pierce in here next. So much going on with the Detroit Lions, from pec injuries to rolled up ankles and hamstrings and everything in between. We'll talk to Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine about that coming up momentarily. But first, a message from the Boys and Girls Club of Southeastern Michigan.
That's right. Join the best youth football league in Metro Detroit. The Boys and Girls Club of Southeastern Michigan's 3C Sport League offers youth ages 5 to 14 with 6 exciting teams to choose from in the Detroit, Belleville, Highland Park, and East Point areas. All coaches are trained, certified, and undergo background checks. Make sure you register for football or cheer at bgcsm.org. Equipment, meals, and transportation, they're all included, all for a chance to play for a championship matchup at Ford Field, and that's just for $175 per child. Put the youth back in youth sports with BGCSM 3C Sports.
And how would you like to play with a legend like Darren McCarty, maybe Kirk Gibson, maybe Braylon Edwards, or even Calvin Johnson? It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Register today and you can play like an MVP. Go to woodwardsports.com or scan the QR code right above my head on the graphic. When it comes to your next car or truck, make the wise decision. It's Randy Wise Automotive.
The countdown to kickoff is here. Your Detroit Lions are ready for another season of grit. Woodward Sports is your #1 destination for all breaking news and Lions coverage. We are Detroit's #1 sports network. We are Woodward Sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Oh, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home?
Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Ryan told you where to be and what to do before the game, each and every Lions game this year. Now, during the game, we got our watch party, and it's with those two guys you see on the left there, the heavyweights. And it's at Macomb County's hottest new bar, Hayes Social. So come on through, watch the game with them, get their reactions, give your own reactions, and then afterwards, Woodward's #1 show for 4 years now returns. The post-game show with my man Stick and me, Anson. We'll be breaking it down afterwards. Going 1-0 against the Stafford-led Rams. I'm going to tell you that right now. Make sure you come out, watch us on Woodward Sports, or come and see us at Hayes Social. We'll be there all game with the heavyweights, and of course, after the game as well, with myself and Mr. Stick.
You know what? You might be right about that. The post-game show might be the #1 show on the network.
So I'm told.
You know, I mean,
pretty
you
easy
think
when
about
you got
all
a
the
champ
people.
in town.
So that's the show I should be at.
Right.
Come on out to Hayes Social, Doc.
All right, we'll make some guest
There's
appearances.
no doubt about
The
it.
pizza there, though, gentlemen. If you have not been to Hayes Social, everybody,
That's it, huh?
the pizza is fire. In fact, they have challenged anybody in the state to touch their pizza, and nobody has yet.
Shout out, Stick.
How much does Stick pay you to say that?
He doesn't have to. He just gives me free pizza. That's all he has to do.
Oh, guys.
Have the Barstool guys been out there?
They have, actually. They were out there
They
during
raided
the Super Bowl, and they had Easy on live with them.
No way.
Yep.
So they got a rating.
Indeed.
How about that? Dr. Pierce, I feel like I haven't seen you in about a month or two. How you doing?
You stopped working Thursdays. And God forbid you should work a Friday.
Oh, God, that's not happening in the summer. No, I got to pull a Tony Kornheiser, a Michael Wilbon in there during the summer. But, hey, Dr. Pierce, and again, our WSN Injury Insider, Michigan Sports and Spine, Dr. Jeff Pierce, check him out right now, by the way. Do that. Lions got a break. They've been getting breaks all year long. And again, more good news today. Penei Sewell, the reports on him, totally fine. Rolled up yesterday in practice, and he's fine. The concern with these offensive linemen, or just anybody in the trenches, when you have a big 300-plus pound guy going down hard and laying down on somebody's ankle, there is a lot of concern there. But when an ankle rolls, What's the danger there? What are you hoping to avoid there?
I mean, obviously, some of the obvious answers is fractures, but the ligaments, actually, ligament tears are worse than a fracture sometimes. When you break the smaller bones from the knee down to the ankle, they heal pretty well. There's the tibia and the fibula, but then the bones within the ankle itself, those are more harder to recover from. But it's the ligament. Usually it's mostly ligament damage. That's why I always say the foot, ankle is the most disrespected part of our body, but it's involved in everything we do. So when these guys are rolling up, we've seen some crazy ankle injuries that have come back, and this is one of them. So we're fortunate, but they're so strong. These guys are so strong, so there's recovery. Is he 100%? I guarantee he's not 100%, but he's not to the point of injury. And his mental is, I'm okay. You know, the imaging came back with no fracture, no ligament tear, but there's definitely a level of strain. You know, we have our 3 levels of grades of strain, you know, sprain, strain, whatever that really means. It's just a disruption of the ligaments, which is involved, you know, how much swelling, how much discoloration, what's going on. I think the good news for everybody is that he's strong enough and he's got a mental capacity that says, I'm playing, I don't care what's going on. So I think there is a part of the injury.
Love that. The engine that pushes the Lions. Now, we did talk about another guy who's facing an injury right now that we kind of laughed about, Doc. Tell us about arm fatigue.
Arm fatigue?
Yep. Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson, quarterback, arm fatigue.
Yeah. So tell us about that.
Sitting out, sore arm.
So I think that's some new verbiage we're going to start hearing. Arm fatigue. That's a good one. And he's under 80 years old, correct?
Right, he under 80.
Okay.
He is. You want to get back to us on that one? You want to get back to us on that one?
The science behind it may be a little questionable, but arm fatigue, I kind of like. I like the verbiage, but I'm going to rest for a little bit, so I'm really not fatiguing during the season. But I mean, on an honest note, I mean that just means his training program needs to be reevaluated.
Yeah.
There's no real thing of arm fatigue if you're properly prepared. You know, we talk about prevention all the time. Watson is all about his game, whatever game he's playing. But right now, I don't like that diagnosis. I don't like that thought process. It is, you know, is it the new version of the NFL of resting your best players until they're ready? Arm fatigue, we're going to put that in quotes somewhere.
Yeah, we didn't like it either.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the show. I'm glad you mentioned that. I want to get back to the Lions. 2 players specifically, Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs. Again, both guys with hamstring injuries. Neither guy seemed serious. Dan Campbell said at the podium yesterday that they'll be back to practice on Sunday after the Saturday game, and then they'll be prepared to go week 1 against the Rams. Hamstring injuries in different levels of them. I mean, I think there was some concern when Gibbs went out specifically that he was going to be out a number of weeks and maybe even miss part of the season, but didn't seem as bad for him or Laporta.
Right. I think we're playing the cautious flag right now because as Campbell is moving, you know, like I say, hopefully we don't play his back and he bites me in the behind. But he's got to start thinking he needs his key players, right? His key players need to rest. The hamstring is all about a strain. It is a very large muscle. It's made up of 3 different muscles, a lot of ligaments, a lot of things going on back there because it is a big, powerful muscle, especially in Gibbs. I mean, that's his forte. You can't be moving without a hamstring. Between his glute muscles, his butt muscles, all that, and his quads, he's got to have good balance because he's such a shifty player. It's so determined on a yard or two if he can, you know, make that cut, that lateral. He's going forwards, backwards, lateral, and diagonal. So hamstring is key, and if he's protecting that, you know, that can lead to hip injuries, knee injuries, and stuff like that. So the mechanics of him, I think Campbell's playing it smart. You know, between the medical team, let's rest these guys, let's get them ready, and there should be a lot of proactive prevention going on with it. And there's some secret sauce that I'm hoping that they're utilizing right now.
Forget about professional athletes for a minute. I just think of like the regular people out there who might be watching this. Like, for instance, I'm doing a renovation at my house. I'm not doing it, but yeah, I'm not doing it, but I'm supervising. And it's coming to the end, and I have been moving these boxes because it's essentially like you move out of your house and then you got to move back in.
Right.
And I found myself just dying. My hamstrings were just dying over the weekend. Like, what is that?
Leg fatigue.
Yeah, is that leg fatigue? What is that? Like, what kind of hamstring?
You beat me to it.
What kind of, in other words, what kind of hamstring injuries do you see at your office? Like, what are people doing out there besides moving boxes? And they're middle-aged 40-year-old men.
You probably need to think about your training program.
Yeah, look at my training program.
Well
Got
played.
it.
If I get enough time, I will admit to a story that I have that's a little embarrassing. But what do we see we see everything, right? We see complete tears. I mean, because we see such different variety of athletes. You have a complete tear, where if it's mid-belly a tear versus off the bone a tear, all those are involved. When we talk about hamstring strains, those are inflammation of the tissue. Can there be small micro fractures, micro tears? Yeah. And what's a micro tear? It's very small, but it's painful, right? That thing has to heal. When you look at the process from a physiological standpoint, you'll have a small tear and it will be like no big deal, but it's the inflammation, everything around it. Like we hear about, football injuries where you get a helmet to the thigh, either the in front with the quadriceps or in the back with the hamstring. You get a little blood accumulation in there. All of a sudden, people are like, I need to rest it. It's the last thing you're supposed to do. You have to beat it, actually beat it out. It's not a resting thing. It's a stretching and being aggressive to get quick recovery. A lot of people they'll baby it, which is the wrong thing to do. And then we look at months of recovery. But with, that's kind of thing at sports and Michigan Sports and Spine, we treat them like an athlete. Like our motto is you got to be playing by Sunday type of thing. Because the football team has all that specialized personnel, equipment, everything else to recover. So for the weekend warriors, the people lifting boxes, if you do get that hamstring.
I mean, come on. You should have seen this. I mean,
it was a heavy box.
They were very heavy boxes. Very heavy.
But the thing is, for you, I mean, it's not rest it. You have to stretch it. You got the Theragun. I love the Theragun. You take the Theragun to that area. You take your little anti-inflammatories. I mean, if you couldn't walk or you're limping, you got to brace it and secure it. Compression shorts. You got your compression shorts on right now.
Naturally.
Okay.
How did you know? You want to see?
You look fit. You look very fit today.
Doc, so
I'm not going to mention.
We had a big free agent signing this offseason in DJ Reader, who had his knee scoped in June. He's on the PUP list right now. He hasn't practiced yet. They asked him 3 days ago what his timetable was. He was unable to give us an answer. In his first 4 years, he only missed 3 games. His 5th year in the league, his first with the Bengals, he missed 11 games. He then went on to miss 2, 6, and 3. My question is, and I know that we want to talk about knees today, but my big question is how true is being injury prone? Is there a point in a guy's career where he gets one injury that affects his mind or his body or both, where you start seeing this guy playing 80% of seasons or even less over and over again for the rest of their career?
Talk about Kawhi Leonard? No.
Oh, boy.
Kawhi Leonard?
He played a lot this year, actually.
No, he didn't. Anyhow, yeah, I mean, there's 2 components, right? Let's just take the injury prone. These guys usually, like you said, he didn't miss much in the first 4 years, so we can't label him as injury prone. But the thing is, what is he doing? Like we call it the Brady factor, or I'm trying to call it the Brady factor, where you're seriously taking care of your castle, right? You're taking care of your body on a regular basis. Guys are floating through their youth in those first 4 or 5 years, and maybe they're not doing the proactive, preventative stuff like we'll label the Brady factor. So that's probably, I would start pointing to that. Gets that first injury, he's out 11 games. Then maybe he's getting mentally strong, like, I got to be a little bit more proactive. And then the mental does raise in, right? You're seeing the young guys coming up. They're faster, they're quicker. What am I going to do to keep doing it? So I'm glad you brought all those things up, because they all, honestly, we think they're superhuman, these players. They're not. They got mental. They're watching it. They got an agent yelling at them. They got a lawyer yelling at them. They got the GM yelling at them. There's a lot of pressure on them to stay youthful. I mean, the average length for a football player is, 4.5 years? So he's pushing all that. The guys that really survive are the ones that are strong mentally and can get serious and mature quicker than the rest. So that may be where we're at, that he's learned. Like even talking to Braylon. When Braylon's here, he'll show you his learning curve through his professional career also.
Let me stick with Reeder for a second. So in December, tore his right quad. He's out there. He's not, practicing. Like, what is a legitimate timetable for somebody that tore a quad?
It's a major muscle.
It's a major muscle. He says he's out there. I'm just reading a Detroit Free Press, just some quotes. No real timetable, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about where I'm at in rehab, running around a little bit. So I'm excited where I'm at. I don't necessarily have like a day or exactly when I'll be back, but I'm feeling good.
But a knee scope in June as well. So, you don't stick a camera in your knee for nothing.
Yes, the answer is yes. Sometimes it is minimal. Sometimes we're just going there to look to make sure nothing major is going on, cleaning up fragments. Like fragments, we like in common day people, we're like, oh, I got a little bone fragment, I feel a little. But for them, with the torque they're putting, it's major. So sometimes just going in scope, pull out just doing a cleaning house.
But
right?
A December injury.
We're looking almost September here.
Yeah.
That's 9 months. Usually most things heal in 6.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 is the magic physiological number that we look at. We're pushing to 3 to 4 with some of the cocktail sauces that we do now. So is there a mental picture? When you say I'm just running around a little, he's far from.
Yeah. It sounds like he's far from playing
field.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, there's a lot to go into that because you got to get recovered. You got to feel confident. You got to have mental confidence, and then you got to get your fast. For a position like him, his fast twitch fibers are major. Right. He's got to have such a quick reaction time, changing positions. With a knee and a quad, that change of position is hesitant. You put them in a lineman, they're not changing positions too much.
Let me ask you one more about Terrion Arnold, the pec injury, and that's how it's been described, a pec injury. He, too, will be back in a week or so practicing, according to Dan Campbell anyway. Nothing major, but different variations. And, again, we saw the pec injury for C.J. Gardner-Johnson last year, sent out pretty much the whole year, but different levels of the pec injury.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking a tear versus a small strain. We're talking about a torn muscle versus what I believe is just a small strain if he's coming back this quickly. And it's more, I think, we're learning, Campbell's learning, the medical team's learning that, we're going to make a run for the Super Bowl this year. We need our main players healthy. Let's be proactive, preventative, whatever we're going to call it. But, I mean, they do have a good medical team there. I think it's more of precautionary with him at this point. So I'm hoping it's not a true comparison. So hopefully game 1 or at least by game 3 he should be back and active with them.
We talked about J.J. McCarthy tearing the ACL or the MCL or whatever CL he tore. Meniscus. Say whatever. You said you had a recreation of that. You have a video of that, Doc?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we were hunting through our little TikToks or whatever. I don't know if we can play it real quick. But it's just
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
No.
Ouch. Who's this guy? What's happening?
So this is a fan that's just eager to get to the best seat. Kind of lost it. But I think like you just did. Was it the MCL, ACL?
BBL, CBS, NBC, DVD. He tore them all.
He tore them all. He took them all out. So we would have got the audio on that. That's kind of saying. But that's the thing. With JJ, I mean, it's still a little bit of a mystery why he's season ending, right? It wasn't the MCL. It wasn't the ACL. It's the meniscus, which is considered the cushion part of the knee, where we do see recovery at best 2 to 3 months. So I don't know if they're just sitting him down mentally and then, hey, we'll revisit it if we feel like it. Then they give themselves an out. But usually a meniscus on a high-level athlete, you're working pretty hard to get him back. It's not an ACL. An ACL, we're seeing ACLs back in 4 months and playing and running backs and stuff like that. So there's either more of the story we don't know, or they're just up in Minnesota doing whatever they want. Because I think he was a Mayo Clinic guy. He wasn't one of the mainstream docs that you're going to for knee injuries nationally. So I think there's more to the story. I think ideally, if he's motivated, he's coming back to play this year.
Been any concerts lately? What has your summer been like? I mean, I always like to get into the mind of Dr. Pierce because you live a life that I think so many of us only wish we could aspire to be. Who are you hanging out with these days, Doc?
Well,
what star, what celebrity are you hanging out with these days?
There's a big up-and-coming that I'm not truly familiar with. You know, when you have to go to your kids and hear about it, Omar Apollo, he actually jumped off a 6-foot riser, landed kind of hard. The guy's 6'6". I don't know. You guys don't know who he is.
I'm north of 45 here, so I don't know who.
Yeah,
he
I
is
heard
either.
the average age was 21.
Yeah,
so.
dang.
So good for him.
Absolutely, God bless him.
But he's an up and coming. He's been an opener for years now with Live Nation. He's now a headliner. You know, he's got a big tour coming. But he actually hurt his back, and we gave him some secret sauce so he could perform last night. I'm proud to say he did perform his whole concert, and I have treatment going on with him in Chicago tonight where he's got a day off, and he's got that busy young schedule. But basically he jumped off a riser, landed hard, zinged his back, and popped it and couldn't move an hour later. So.
And then they called Dr. Pierce on the case, called him up.
That's right.
We love it. Man.
No, but Kenny Chesney was a week ago. I mean, there's a lot.
That was a good show, I heard.
It was a great show.
Yeah.
Great energy. Country's got great. He's been doing it for a while. He's a big sports guy.
Yeah.
You know, I know he was on ESPN the other day just talking. He talks the real sports.
Yeah.
He plays all the big football stadiums for a reason.
It's amazing, man.
So,
you get those stadium crowds.
Oof. I mean, we were able to be up on stage. Being out there, I mean, with 70,000 people just listening to every word you have, and
next level, bro.
It's kind of like you, right?
Yeah, sure.
You know, I hear you can't even walk alone up north anymore.
I can't even get my wife to listen to me, so it's fine. Dr. Pierce, we appreciate you, my friend. We'll see you next week, if not sooner. WSN Injury Insider, Michigan Sports and Spine Center, Dr. Jeff Pierce. KG, Pete Spivak, great job.
Thanks, buddy.
Anson Wells, good job you today. Braylon's back tomorrow. Maz is back tomorrow. Going to be doing the show out at the Warwick Hills.
That's right.
Ally Challenge. How about that?
We'll be near the 17th hole.
Anson will be there as well.
We'll be near the 17th.
You got any last words for us, Anson?
Shout out McLaren.
There you go.
We're coming to support you guys this weekend.
Love it. I'll see you guys on Tuesday, Friday, Monday this week.
How do you keep it straight?
I don't know. I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure it all out. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you Tuesday. The gang will see you tomorrow live at Warwick Hills. Woodward Sports. Check out the heavyweights next.